Welcome back. It's in some respects a somber day, in other ones a way to remember the people we've lost and hope for the future. Today is World Cancer Day. The Canadian Cancer Society says today is an opportunity to come together, honor and remember people affected by cancer, and to take action and take charge for the future of cancer forever. Now, the latest data from the World Health Organization shows that 20 million new cases and almost 10 million deaths were reported worldwide in 2022. According to the WHO, breast cancer is the most common cancer in women in Canada, and in our country, prostate cancer is the most common among men. The Premier, Doug Ford, reflecting today, posting online, too many Ontario families, including my own, have been affected by cancer. On World Cancer Day, let's join together to raise awareness and support for those battling this terrible disease. And now we are joined live by Stephen Piazza. He's a Director of Advocacy for the Canadian Cancer Society. Thank you for joining us, Stephen. I do maybe want to start on I don't want to call it good news, but looking at Statistics Canada, the incidence rate since 2011 for all cancers combined in our country has decreased by a small but statistically significant amount. It's down 0.6%. How can we keep moving in the right direction? We're also seeing mortality rates go down.
Yeah, thank you for having us and talking about this topic today. In Canada, we still see in 2023, we estimate over 230,000 cancer diagnoses across the country, and about 85,000, just over 85,000 cancer deaths. So it's certainly, the leading cause of death and disease in Canada. On World Cancer Day, the sort of global theme this year is closing the care gap. So one thing I would say is Canada has a relatively robust cancer system for those that can access care. But a key piece of our work this year is actually, talking about a lot of the gaps in cancer care that Canadians face. One we're highlighting specifically is affordability and out-of-pocket costs. We worked with Angus Reid to survey Canadians and found that over 90% of Canadians say that a cancer diagnosis would impact them financially. 2/3 of those said that it would make it extremely difficult to pay for things, the necessities, the basics, like rent and mortgage. And about 30% of Canadians say the out-of-pocket costs associated with a cancer diagnosis would drive them into debt. So again, cancer is certainly a very prevalent disease in Canada, but we really want to close those gaps to accessing the robust care that we do have access to in Canada. And affordability and out-of-pocket costs is really focused this year.
And now, how important is that gap in terms of access? Because when we look at cancer and incidence rates are one thing, but the rate of survival, that's, according to research, very much tied to how quickly a diagnosis can come. So when there is gaps in care, how can this literally mean life and death?
So we know that when cancer is found and detected early, it's much easier to treat. If you look at specific cancers like prostate, the net survivorship of prostate cancer increases dramatically when it's found and detected early. But relating that to the out-of-pocket gap, a PSA test, which is a test for early detection of prostate cancer, even with a physician referral, so many people in Canada concerned about the prostate health will still have to pay out of pocket for that test for early detection, even though, as I was saying, we know that that's really key to surviving something like prostate cancer.
Now, I know this is potentially a weird question for a Director of Advocacy, but when we look at what causes cancer, the actual specific cause seems to still elude us, despite the decades of research that's gone into it. What's the fight against cancer really looking at right now? Is it going in a specific route in terms of addressing specific kinds of cancers, prostate for men, breast cancer for women, looking at anal cancer and the rise in rates there? Or is it really looking at what is causing cancers overall?
When we talk about cancer prevention, one thing we could focus specifically on is modifiable risk factors. So those are things at a population level, like alcohol consumption, tobacco consumption, those sorts of things. When it comes to tobacco control, Canada is actually a world leader in this space with sort of initiatives like plain packaging, individual warnings on cigarettes, things like that to really lower our tobacco consumption as a population. It being dry February this month as well, and certainly talk about alcohol and the risk factors that presents to your possibility of having a cancer diagnosis. Alcohol consumption reduces your chance of about 9 types of cancer. So certainly there are modifiable risk factors to lower the risk of cancer, along with provincial programs like screening. So we've seen recently an expansion of lung cancer screening across Canada and in the province of Ontario, and we'd certainly like more screening sites to be opened and in operation.
More screening and more hope with so many people in this country touched by cancer. Stephen, we do thank you for your time. Stephen Piazza is a Director for Advocacy with the Canadian Cancer Society, joining us here on CP24. Thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you.